Peace and blessings, y'all. Peace and blessings. I'm gonna get a few people on here first before we dive into some conversation. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm. Let me see. I'm adding some people. All right. So I really wanted to discuss. I wanted to discuss that there's often moments where it really just feels like we don't know which direction we're going in, right? It feels very unclear. Like in one moment we know what we're doing, and then the next it's like, no, I don't know about that partner. Um, I wanted to share, excuse me, I wanted to share some of the methods that I use for overcoming moments of not really knowing what the fuck's going on, right? And it's not that you don't internally really know, it's that when we're not in motion, it often feels like we're not moving at all. And sometimes not being in motion is the perfect place for rest and preparation. That has to take place before we move into a new portion of life, in general. And so, what I recognize is that there's often anxiety that comes with not not moving. There's anxiety with coming that comes with this motion of, am I doing the right thing? I felt really passionate. I felt really drawn to what I was doing. And now I'm like, I don't know. And so oftentimes we need a reminder to just keep going, to just keep, maybe take a rest. If things are not moving in life, Spirit reminds me a lot that if I'm not moving, there's probably something that I need to take notice of. So I maybe need to be a little bit more observant in my life. I need to listen more and speak less. I need to be receptive to what is taking place, right? Hey, Jessica. And so there's often these moments where if I'm feeling anxious about something, I'm going to first ground myself. I'm going to get grounded. I'm going to allow myself to breathe and rest, because in those moments we forget to breathe. One of the most important key component parts of life is breath. Why? Because breath is the bringer of knowledge. It is the bringer of messages. It is the bringer of life to rejuvenate in ourselves. It is the breath of source. It is the breath of our energy. And so when we are feeling uncertain, what do we need to do? We need to breathe. We need to get into the breath. And when we do that, we're able to look at our situation from a different perspective. And oftentimes that wisdom is going to come to you. That that wisdom is always going to come to you. Sometimes you got to be a little bit patient for it, right? So in the moments where you need to be patient, you need to be kinder to yourself, right? Those are the moments where the wisdom is going to come through. And you may have to wait a little bit, but it'll come. It'll come. And so in those moments, what I like to do is I like to get outside in nature. If I can't get outside, I'm definitely going to do something that grounds me. So I have a bamboo plant that I speak to. I envision roots coming out of my feet and going into the ground. Why? Because I'm connecting with Mother Earth. I'm grounding my energy into a place of being receptive and being open. And that openness is all that is needed. It really is. I'm not just gonna sit here waving my plum around. I'm gonna eat this thing. But I got a fruit bowl for you guys today. I got strawberries. I got a mango, a banana, and a plum. Um, and then often too, if I feel like I'm stuck in my life, I wanted to bring this up too, is that fasting helps me to recenter every single time. If I feel like I'm not moving, if I feel like there's a blockage, if I feel like something is stuck, I'm gonna fast. I'm either going to fast from food, I'm going to fast from social media, I'm going to fast from music, I'm going to fast from television. Like, I don't really watch TV much, but I do watch my shows, my anime. So I'll put that on hold. I'll do a abstinence, celibacy fast. I'll do something. I'll do something because if I'm feeling heavy in my being, that means I need to limit my intake. I need to limit what I'm intaking in my life so that I am able to be observant and receptive to what is going on, right? So, fasting is one of the key ways to start breaking through any stagnant energy. And it'll see it through every single time. When my money is moving a little slow, fast. When I don't know the answer to something, fast. When my body's feeling heavy, when my mind is heavy, fast. Like, fasting is a clarity, is a movement of clarity. It is a movement of clarity, truly. And so, and there's a lot of different ways to fast. You can fast from anything. But really I always like check my vices. I check what I'm codependent on. Like, I'm 4 months in from fasting from cannabis, and I have a really great relationship with cannabis. But it became very transparent that I needed to be clearer. I needed to be even more clear in where I'm at right now. I needed to be ready. I needed to be receptive. I needed to be honing in on my skills, my abilities, my focus. And in order to do that, I needed to fast and release from something that I was spending a lot of time on, or, whatever the case may be. I limited my intake of media, and I started regulating my fasting more with food as well. And, if y'all have questions, y'all can ask too. I know I get on here and I start talking about things, but if y'all have questions about things, feel free to ask. Let me know what resonates. Share this with your friends. Thank you, Jessica, for letting me know. Um, but what a lot of people do is that they get overwhelmed in the fasting aspect, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna fast for all these days and I'm gonna do it like this. And I'm like, start off slow. Okay, fasting is like weightlifting. You're not gonna start out with a 30-day fast, and if you do, it's gonna be treacherous. I mean, you can. I'm not saying that you can't. It's not impossible. Nothing is impossible. But start out with a few days. Build your tolerance, build your body to it, because it's different. It's not something that you're used to, right? So, like, slowly build your fasting. And I noticed that that's something that I'm working on now. Is I spend a lot of days, every 2 weeks I do a fruit fast. And on the days that I have my ancestral energy healing initiative or my research projects on Fridays and Saturdays, I'll fast, usually. And then when I do rituals, when I'm in rituals, I also fast and I feed the spirits. And I notice where I can improve in that, right? So there's always a movement of improvement. And I've been fasting since the end of 2018 into 2019. 2019 is when I got really into fasting. And I went through some serious detox symptoms. I went through some purging. I went through some, y'all, I looked like a drug addict, okay? Because I was literally purging parasites out of my body. I was getting rid of old thought patterns. I was getting rid of emotions. Even sometimes when I'm fasting now, I still have purging symptoms because that's normal. It's not as heavy as it used to be. So, like the first times that you start fasting, it's definitely difficult. But everybody's journey is different. I'm not here to sell y'all no pipe dream. Like, that's not what it is. I feel like the falsehood that is given on social media is not helping any of us. Um, but I do want to let you know that you're not alone in doing that because there's a whole community of people that fast, me being one of them. And so, if you need somebody to reach out to, if you need to just express some things that you're going through or things that are purging, feel free to soundboard on that because we have a community for a reason. We have a community for a reason. These strawberries good. I ain't gonna flex. Mm, I did wanna write down something that I wrote the other day that came to me in spirit. I wanted to read you guys this that I had wrote. Where is it? Okay. Okay. One comes to trust the committed. One comes to trust the committed. That was something that I wrote, and it was something that Spirit told me, and it really resonated. And I'm gonna break down what that means. Like, when one comes to trust the committed, not only do people trust you when you are, like showing commitment to something, it means that you're serious. It means that you have discipline, you have dedication, you have something that you're passionate about, and that you can be trusted in that area, right? But not only about other people, but when you are committed to something personally, you can trust yourself. You learn to trust yourself. Trust comes to the one that is committed. So if you are committed to yourself, you learn to trust yourself. A lot of people ask me, how can I trust myself again? And my best advice is to start listening to your intuition and stop second guessing yourself. And if you do second guess yourself, take note of how that transpires, and that can help you to better, relate. It can help you to better understand, like, okay, I'm not this untrustworthy person that I used to be. Because when we have been lying to ourselves, deceiving ourselves, coming from a place of just not living in our truth, right? We don't trust ourselves. So we don't trust other people either. There's no trust in our community. There's no trust in ourselves. Hey, Kurt. There is no trust in that. So how can we expand upon that? How can we build in that? And I think a lot of us are in this in between of learning to trust ourselves again. And oftentimes, our intuition is left out of that conversation. And our intuition is one of the most important guiding posts in our life. How can we navigate a life without it? We're not really living in control of ourselves if we are not in a space of intuitive direction. And so, and in those moments, we seek to control others, and there's no trust in that either. Because if I try to control you, that means that I don't trust that you know what to do with your life, right? That I don't trust that you know how to treat yourself or you know how to treat me. A lot of the times, people will, they'll try to say sorry for getting my attention, or trying to reach out to me, right? And I'll be like, you don't need to apologize for extending yourself to get my attention or to talk to me, because I know myself and I have boundaries. So if I can't speak to you, I won't. Or I'll let you know if I don't have space for you. You can trust me to know myself. You can trust me to have boundaries, because I absolutely do have boundaries, and they are very thick. They are thick boundaries, and they're not comfortable for a lot of people, but they're mine, and I need those, right? And I trust myself better because I have boundaries. Um, and so, I'm like, I'm not going to apologize for showing up, or for, um, asking my community for help when I need it, or things like that, because I trust that you know your boundaries. And if you don't, I'm going to say, hey, if this is not within your boundaries, you need to take some time to reconsider, or you don't need to commit to this, or you don't need to answer to me all the time, because that's not answering to you first. So I'm always the person that's going to bring it back to you. Are you honoring yourself? Are you respecting yourself? Are you loving on yourself? Those boundaries are really important, and they help us to trust ourselves better, and not only ourselves, but they help us to trust the people in our life. And if you recognize that someone does not have boundaries, if they're not respecting their time, if they're not respecting their energy, then you already know that they're not going to be able to exhibit the same things towards you. And it's not personal. It's not personal. If somebody doesn't love and respect themselves, that has nothing to do with me. At the end of the day, I send them awareness so that they can come into a place of truth and love within themselves. There is nothing that I can do. I can't control that person to love themselves. That's not how that works, but I trust that spirit will guide them into a place of loving themselves. I trust that just how I have found my way in this journey, that they will also find theirs. And that's a part of being graceful. Like, we can exhibit grace to other people when we understand that our journey is not cut and dry, right? Our journey is not cut and dry. There's not, just one way of doing things. There's not just one journey, and I can honor the process in which it takes to get to a place of awareness and consciousness. And that trust is in myself. That trust is in our community. That trust is in my spirits, in the universe. Like, I trust that energy will always flow. Energy will always be in the movement, and that's all I need. That's all I need. That's the only confirmation that I need. And it's continuous. It's a continuous confirmation. Spirit is always continuously reminding me that things are taken care of, because I allow and I surrender. So, I went back and forth with that for a long time. So I hope that that message reaches somebody in a deeper level, because I kind of figured it out through the ebb and flow of things. mm, this mango is delicious. But I figured that out in the ebb and flow of things. And so may that bring you to a place of, maybe that's a thinker for you. Maybe that's something that you can journal about and see where your level of trust is. But anytime that you are your trust is going to be needed in those moments where you don't know what the fuck's going on. You're going to have to trust yourself in those moments of rest. You're going to have to trust yourself in the moments of redirection. You're going to have to trust yourself that you know what you're doing and you are led to do what you're supposed to do. Let me tell y'all a little story. So last year, I started AHE, right? The Ancestral Energy Healing Initiative. It's a research project where I'm working with the ancestors to remove disease from people's bodies, and to basically hold sacred space for healing to take place. And I've done it with myself, which is how I know it works. And so the vision was shown to me clear as day that this is what I would be doing, right? Before I even started doing it, I saw the vision to do it, and that's what brought me to that. Then there were moments in the research where I was hearing voices like, this healing don't work. See? That don't even resonate with me. But it was like that healing don't work, or that, it ain't doing nothing. And I knew that that was a lie, right? And I trust myself, so I immediately cleansed. I was like, okay, whoever, and I'm very clairaudient too, so I can hear when people don't believe. And I have to navigate a lot of that very often. And what I realized is that I need to trust myself. And I just continued moving forward. And I eventually, a week later, I was sitting with my spirits and we were in meditation. And I was like, I need y'all to show me who is in my ear trying to get me to not do this healing work. And it was shown to me, and it was an energy, an attachment that was attached to an older version of myself who was upset that I was not the same person that I used to be, and they wanted to grow in that version of ourselves in that way. And so that I was like, no, like I'm transmuting this, I'm healing this. And I healed that entity off of me, moved it on, and I healed that version of me that was hurting, that was sad, that, I had put a lot of effort into something that didn't work at one point, because, that's how life works. We figure out what works and what doesn't for us. And so when I came into that point, I was like, okay, and I felt this weight lifted off me. And then I stopped hearing those voices. I stopped hearing, you can't do it, this healing don't work, blah, blah, blah. And it really be like that sometimes. And whether we're hearing what other people think, or if it's an entity, or if it's even the inner voice within ourselves, it's important to recognize that you got to trust yourself. I clearly saw that vision. I knew that I was leaning and still leaning in the excitement of that vision, and I know what it is. And I have proven to myself time and time again that I am right. And that, I mean, right or wrong is so subjective. But anyway, y'all get what I'm saying. Like, I know that I have been shown what is my truth, where I'm supposed to be. So I can't argue that. I won't argue that. I won't argue what is in my highest good. I won't argue what my path is, because if I'm sitting here allowing anything to shake me out of my path, then I'm clearly not holding on. I'm not on the strongest foundations that I need to be in. And my foundations is meditation, cleansing, protection, a healthy lifestyle, keeping my mind, body, and spirit in clarity, like trusting myself, and doing the work that comes with that. Playing, allowing there to be a balance between work and play. So like there's a lot of movement in that cycle that always takes place. And if you are in a moment where you know, like, this is the path that you have seen for yourself, and you're in a moment of, is this even really what I'm supposed to be doing? Remember to trust yourself. Remember to go back, and that's why journaling things is so important. That's why writing things down is so important, or documenting in some type of way. Even if you don't write it down, are you videoing it? Are you making a voice note of it? Like, I go back and read my journals, I go back and listen to my voice notes, because they keep me solid in my foundation. They remind me that, okay, the things that I saw, I am not crazy, I know I saw that. And sometimes we need that reconfirmation to know that I was really present with that, and I still am. So, anytime that you are going through that, bring yourself back to when you got the message. Bring yourself into a place of clarity, into a place of cleansing. Identify what is causing the tension in between your vision and yourself and your path. And if now is just a time of recollection, or if now is just a time for you to see things in a deeper level, or if now is just a time for you to rest and prepare, because rest and preparation is equally as important as movement, in those moments, see if you can reinforce your foundations of trust within yourself. And it will help you to navigate opportunities that come your way. I've had opportunities surface so much more because I'm just open to receive, and I trust that what is coming my way right now is divinely aligned in that. You know, and I can tell when it's not. I instantly know when something is not for me. I feel it in my entire being, and I trust that. And that has taken practice. I love that little audio that's like, "Oh, you're so good at it. I wish I was good at it." They were like, "It's practice." And they're like, "Oh, I wish I could do that. You must have been born a genius. It's practice." And that's literally how it is. Like, meditate, practice, uh, practice on yourself, utilize your resources, because they will prepare you for where you're supposed to be going, and you will feel more solid in your movement ultimately. Well, that is my Zane talk for today. I'm gonna finish my fruit bowl. Mm. I'm gonna finish my fruit bowl and go ahead and get ready for my sessions today. But I love you. The divine loves you. I just want to share them gems with you and let you know that you're not alone, and that what is divinely for you is always going to be divinely for you. Nothing can take that away from you. All right. Have a beautiful day. Happy Tuesday. Happy Mars Day. And let's get it popping.